The power grind in the Edge of Fate is about to be insane. How long will it take you to go from the base power, which is 10 at launch, to the maximum power? That's a question that's been on the minds of a lot of Destiny 2 players. Well, Kujay here actually went and did some of the math, right? And this post has gone viral actually with 325,000 views. Let's see what the math is looking like right here. They did some math in the upcoming power grind in the Edge of Fate to go from 200 to 400 power, which is the necessary power needed to earn tier 5 loot, okay? And assuming you get a +3 drop in the correct slot every time, and that you get a drop every 10 minutes, which is the average time I believe that's expected for doing these activities, it will take you roughly 90 hours of time. That is going to be a grind. 90 hours potentially to go from 200 to 400. I believe when you leave the legendary campaign that it gives you the power level necessary to do the raid. I'm not sure where that is. Maybe that's 200 power, but it would seem as though absolutely no one is going to be at maximum power for the raid, which means that no one is going to have any tier 5 loot, which is the new most desirable weaponry in the Edge of Fate. No one's going to have any of that for the new raid. And it seems like Bungie probably did that by design, right? The Edge of Fate expansion comes out on Tuesday, and so you have 24 hours until Wednesday, then you'd have another 48 hours until Thursday at reset, then you'd have, what's the math on that, 72 hours till Friday at reset, and then another 24 hours, you'd have 96 hours. There's technically 96 hours from the launch of the Edge of Fate until the raids launch. So unless you wake up on Tuesday reset and grind every single minute until the raid launch, you're not making it, right? You're just not making it. Almost no breaks. You're going to need to like insert a catheter. You're going to have to be sitting on a modified gaming chair toilet, and you're going to have to not sleep for like 5 days to get a tier 5 weapon and bring it into the raid. No one's bringing tier 5 loot into the raid. No one. And I think that Bungie did this by design. Gonna have to have your eyelids glued open. You know when they do like the vitamin drips that the rich celebrities do? They do like a vitamin drip. Would you do that? One of those into your veins, but it's gonna be G Fuel, just right into the veins, just a non-stop drip of caffeine going in. Just sitting there gaming, bloodshot eyes the whole time. Potato chips next to you, Pringles, everything. Takis, you name it. Mountain Dew, you gotta have it. Doritos, of course. All of that around you. 90+ hours to bring tier 5 loot, which brings up an interesting question, right? So the reason why you want tier 5 loot in general is for challenging activities, right? Like the whole point is to get the most desirable loot so that you can use it in the most difficult activities, in my opinion. I don't know how you could create a claim where you need tier 5 loot to just go run around and do patrols, right? You need it for contest mode clears of the raids. You need it for the highest difficulty of dungeons, which is now like ultimatum world tiers inside Kepler, the new planetary destination. At the highest world tier, you'll definitely want tier 5 loot, especially if it has like a god roll. You know, that'd be nice to get that enhanced origin trade, magazine, barrel, all that. It's pretty cool, right? That's what you're going to want it for. And to not get to take the best loot into the new raid is a weird thing. I mean, obviously, there's going to be a new version of the raid. I think it's called the Prestige version. And the Prestige version of the raid comes out months later. And it's going to have a tweak to all the mechanics. By then, everyone will have tier 5 loot. All right. By then, everyone's going to have tier 5 weapons and be fully geared up and be crazy ready for that Prestige difficulty of the raid. And we'll see how challenging that is. But definitely an interesting element to not have that initially. We'll see how people feel about that overall. I think that for the most part, people are going to grind their level up a bunch, even still, and then just jump into the raid. This creates a more, I don't know, a more measured approach, a more casual friendly approach. Because right now, if you log in Edge of Fate day 1 and you're like, I want to clear the raid, all you got to do is beat the legendary campaign. You're leveled up, you're ready to go. Get your team together, make sure they've all cleared it as well. That will be high enough level to clear the new Edge of Fate raid, whatever it is, right? I'm predicting for this new raid, its challenge difficulty is going to be at a medium. I don't think it's going to be the final shape difficulty. In fact, the final shape is a 5 encounter raid. I guess since we haven't had one since then, there's a chance that it's another 5 encounter raid, but it feels like sometimes the bar is being lowered a little bit with some of these things. So I would probably expect a 4 encounter raid, but I think we deserve a 5 encounter raid. Someone said, yeah, this and the subclass bait, they're really shooting themselves in the foot. And for everyone, I've played Destiny 1 Vanilla when it was literally a job to grind for resources, and it sounds worse. I mean, it does sound pretty crazy, right? Like, this sounds like a very serious grind. And keep in mind, when you're doing this, you're doing old activities. They showcased an activity in here that was 5 years old. The Dark Priestess from Europa, 5-year-old activity, came out with Beyond Light. Why are we doing that for? So you're gonna have to grind 90 hours of time doing stuff you've already done. With, just as a caveat, just as a small bit, there's going to be new modifiers added to it. So, you know, it could make things a little more fun, a little more creative, you know, daunting, perhaps. But it's definitely going to feel odd. I think you're going to see a decent amount of backlash on this one, especially because in previous expansions, Bungie actually removed the power grind in its entirety, just as an experiment. They said, hey, what happens if we just don't make you do this arbitrary thing in the game, right? We don't have to make the power level increase every expansion. It's not necessary. Everyone was happy initially. They praised it. This is an excellent change. We love this. Grinding power is silly. It is trivial. However, what we noticed was that the Destiny 2 population dropped significantly. Let's pull up the Steam charts here. The old Destiny 2. When did Bungie remove power grind? Bungie removed the seasonal power level grind in Destiny 2 with the release of the Final Shape expansion. So Final Shape release date. So this goes back to July 29, 2024. Let's look at all time. Okay, so in April, May, June 2024. So this is what the chart looks like after they removed the power level grind. So you got May. So this is the peak right here, 314,000. We had a massive peak of players. This is what happened when they removed the power grind. It goes down to 100,000, 63, 41, 89, 53, 36, 36, 77, 67, 49, 29, 30, 59, 43, 38, and right here we're at, which is today, July 7th, 2025, we're at 39,000. And then they obviously reincorporated the power grind a little bit. They added like a little plus 10 to that. I think they've noticed a flatlining effect by not giving us this sort of trivial power grind thing. So they're like, let's bring it back, I guess. And let's use the new systems that we've created to make this a serious grind. If we were doing new activities, I'm all for this, especially if the activities are dynamic and changing and it doesn't feel like you're doing the same exact thing again and again and again. Love this. Love that type of grind for sure. But doing the same old activities for 90 plus hours, people might be mad. I don't know what Bungie's thinking about this, but we shall see. How do you feel about that power grind for the Edge of Fate? Are you a fan of the power grind? Does this excite you? Are you ready to grind? Or do you find it a little too trivial and Bungie should find other, maybe more meaningful ways to get you to play Destiny 2? They obviously want your playtime sessions to be as high as possible. They want you to spend time playing the game, but I think that making it in a more meaningful way is going to be the play. It's going to be more important in the long run for getting players, for retaining players. That's going to be the one play. I think 90 plus hours, it might be too much to do old activities. It might be too much.